And joining me now from Riverton, Manitoba is Larry Brandt, who is a strong supporter of Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer. You were very much a part of his successful leadership campaign. Now it's been over 10 months that he's been leader. And you're also a fan of InfoCanada.news, Larry. I understand that you're quite happy that we've got this sort of alt media outfit doing interviews and talking to people like yourself.
Yes, I think it's something that we've needed for a while. After Sun News disappeared, that kind of our side went dark, and we need more conservative news outlets. We need more input from our side. Looking for news that we can count on, that portrays the values that we view as important. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I would very highly support this.
Well, I think we're going to try to be as fair as possible with all sides, including yours. Right. I mean, that's the goal here at InfoCanada.news, Larry, and I very much appreciate the fact that you're a supporter of ours and that you're going to mention us to all your friends out there to tune in on some of these interviews. Let's talk a little bit about Andrew Scheer. 10 months later, you were involved in his campaign. As I said, you've been a supporter all along. How do you think he's doing?
I would say he's doing very well. He's still getting out there. He's trying to do as much getting around the country as he can. Obviously, it takes time, and but he is. Their focus obviously is very much Ontario, and they're doing better there, as the polls will indicate. But I think he's doing very well. It's not just in one part of the country, but it seems like in a large part of the country that he's starting to do very well.
I do know there's a video that's come out recently. It's kind of a mocking thing that says, exposed, who is Andrew Scheer anyway, and it talks a little bit about his background.
I was so passionate about this issue because it really resonated with me personally. I grew up in a very, very middle-class family, working-class family. My mom was a nurse. She was one of the original nurses at the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. For those of you that have lived or worked in the Ottawa area, that's an iconic institution for pediatric and healthcare for young people throughout Eastern Ontario. My dad worked for the Ottawa Citizen, so he's got a post-media pension. So everyone, keep your fingers crossed for him. I don't want him moving in with me, so please go out and subscribe to any paper you like. You don't have to read it, just have to subscribe to it. But they often had to make sacrifices. They had to make tough choices. I can literally remember the day. My dad's an avid reader. We had our whole basement was a library of books everywhere. He subscribed to literally dozens of magazines. And I remember the day that he canceled all his magazine subscriptions so that he could pay for my sister's dance lessons. I remember the time that he arranged for a loan from a friend when interest rates were double digits so that he could keep our family in the house. Those are tough choices. It's not easy to go to a friend and ask for money to pay down a mortgage so that you can stay in the house. And they always made those sacrifices so that we could have a better future. And they were very generous. When I turned 18 and I was accepted to the University of Ottawa, my parents were very, very generous. They said I could live at home for free. And that was their contribution to my post-secondary education.
Now, some people suggest that he could very well be the Prime Minister if, for instance, there was an election held today. And a large part of that, of course, is that Justin Trudeau's numbers on a personal level have been in a steady decline. In fact, you could even say that after that India trip, it went into a steeper decline. Do you really see that the Conservative Party has a strong, legitimate chance to unseat Trudeau after only one term?
Well, at this point, with the polls showing what they're doing and not spiking the way we sometimes can see, I think a steady, slow path forward is probably the right way for Andrew, and not expect to have all kinds of large spikes in the polls.
Because at some point, people are going to be saying, that's fine, we're dissatisfied with the Liberals, but where do we go from here? So it's not just a case of, voting against Justin Trudeau, although that may be very much a factor in the next election. it's also got to be, we're going to be voting for somebody else. So it's really going to be up to Andrew Scheer to make a case for prime minister, isn't he, at some point?
Well, I guess with some of the things that are happening in the House with the India trip, that does give Andrew a chance to do his part in opposition, which is definitely giving him a bit of traction and credibility, I would say.
Yeah, I think he's performed quite well in the House.
I would say.
I've seen him speak in person, and one thing that comes across is that here's a strong family guy, and a guy who is a nice person. Like, he seems to be a decent person. One area of possible concern for some conservatives, however, is he tough enough? For instance, in Ontario, we've got Doug Ford, who's got a thick skin. He knows what's coming, come election time. He knows he's going to get attacked, and he's one of these guys who you figure will mix it up, no problem. In the corners, elbows up if he has to, and he can mix it up with the best of them. With Andrew Scheer, you almost get the impression he's almost too nice a guy. Is he tough enough for this job?
He's tough enough, and I say that for one reason. If you remember when he first kind of introduced himself after becoming leader, he said, "This smile is me when I'm happy. This smile is me when I'm angry." And if you watched him sometimes in the House of Commons responding to Trudeau's foul-ups, he has been very much on Trudeau's case. It's not like he's just a Mr. Nice Guy all the time. He can stand his ground. He knows what he stands for. He doesn't back down for, he's not a wishy-washy kind of guy.
Last poll I saw of Trudeau is that west of Quebec, he could face a shellacking. Now, obviously the polls are going to go up, they're going to go down.
Right.
But clearly he's having problems. He's now headed to Fort Mac in the next few days to meet with employees of Suncor, and as well as some Métis and Native people. He's not real popular in Alberta right now, is he?
Definitely not.
What's going on there?
Well, with the whole energy situation, he's definitely not being the leader that a leader should be when it comes to getting Trans Mountain Pipeline built. He's definitely in the backgrounds. He's hiding from both sides, it seems like. Jason Kenney is definitely putting the gears to him, and so are some of the environmentalists. So he's getting from both sides. He's not taking a clear stand, and that is giving him a lot of trouble.
It's an interesting point. By next year sometime, Justin Trudeau may be losing his biggest ally in Ontario and a pretty strong ally in Alberta, although I know that Rachel Notley and the Prime Minister have had their issues. But those are two people that really have been in his corner. And they're going to be potentially replaced by two rock-solid conservatives in Jason Kenney and Doug Ford. I mean, you talk about a change, in terms of the people who were going to support Justin Trudeau compared with the people who might be coming in.
Right, and it's kind of interesting to watch how he tries to work with them, and in fact, I think McKenna, wasn't she kind of helping win?
Yes. Kind
of after the election.
That's right.
So that they're trying to play both sides, and they're trying to be supportive of their current or the incumbents. So it's going to be interesting to watch how they work with, let's say, Jason Kenney when he gets in, or with Doug Ford when he gets in June. It'll be very interesting to see all that develop.
And Trudeau is going overseas once again as well. He's going to Lima, he's going to Peru, he's going to Paris, and he's going to London. And I know he's going to be meeting with Prime Minister Theresa May in London when he's there. But he's also leaving. Is this the sort of leaving the frying pan kind of thing? I don't know if he's going into the fire. I don't know how much worse it can be. Mind you, given what happened in India, things haven't worked too well for him on these foreign trips.
Well, if you've heard some of the comments coming from the Conservative MPs, they've been kind of implying that they should keep him traveling so that they could keep piling on all these different problems that he creates when he's out traveling, his dress code and you name it.
Well, I was thinking of how he's going to dress in Peru. Clearly, I can't believe he's going to go there again. I mean, in terms of and I don't want to use the word costume now, because I know that Ruby Sahota was saying, hey, it's not a costume. You're talking about cultural clothing here. Stop calling it a costume. So it's not fine. It's not a costume, but it's very much donning the garb of the culture where he's going. It backfired big time in India. So I can't believe that his advisors will tell him to do the same thing again in Peru.
I guess he's safe in the UK. The dress code is very much the same as what we have.
Well, unless he goes as like a beefeater or one of these palace guards or something like that. Although I can't believe he would do that. So tell me, where we head in the future in terms of this InfoCanada.news. As a guy who's going to be watching us on a regular basis and supporting us, where would you like to see us go? What would you like to see us do? Give me an idea.
Definitely be a voice of reason out there. Present both sides fairly. We definitely want to present the values of conservatives while still maintaining fair coverage for all sides. But hopefully reach out to a larger audience and help influence, especially with the elections coming up, help influence that so that it's not just a one-sided thing like we see with the other media. Definitely is a very one-sided, although it's interesting to note now how they are kind of starting to point out Trudeau's mistakes and all that. So
yeah, I don't think you can't avoid it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, when that trip to India was such a debacle, the media had to cover it. I mean, I don't see how they can avoid something because it became an international story.
Yeah, it wasn't just locally; it was all over. The whole world kind of knew about what was going on here in Canada, and it's not the first time that that's happened. He's been able to get attention worldwide in a number of instances. So. Yeah, I think, and it's not in a positive way for him. Definitely not. He was kind of the hero at first, and that's definitely not the case anymore.
Yeah, the gloss has definitely gone up. Now, you can't count him out because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
And you know that they're going to go after Scheer. They're going to have the guns are going to be blazing. They're going to try to paint him as an extremist, just like they are Doug Ford in Ontario during this election. So I think he's got to be ready for it.
Right, and he has been able to like on tough questions, he has a way of coming across so that it's not negative, but he can not sway, but he can kind of turn the conversation to a more positive message that he's actually wanting to do for us conservatives is to present a more positive front. And I think he's doing a good job of that.
Well, listen, thank you, Larry Brandt from Riverton, Manitoba, where you are right now. I really appreciate you chatting with me. And let's do this on a regular basis, Larry. Let's chat politics and share your thoughts with a lot of your colleagues and the viewers of InfoCanada.news.
Yeah, my pleasure. And again, thanks for inviting me, and hope to do this again soon.
We'll see you next time.